You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Today was the February signing date. Uneventful, as we all know. It's been several years now, but all of the heavy lifting for recruiting now was done in December, and then the lingering remaining prospects ink in February. And it was significant for LSU on Wednesday because of Dominick McKinley, the number one player in the state of Louisiana, a defensive lineman in a massive position of need, and a prospect you flipped from Texas A&M. But one thing is very clear for LSU is that they are not done with this roster for 2024. And I think that's probably the case for every college football team because you're going to go into a spring portal cycle and you're going to lose players and gain players there as well. But when Brian Kelly met with reporters Wednesday, he did talk about the remaining needs for this team coming out of the February signing date.
We still have some needs. The defensive tackle position is one that we're still vetting, that we have some needs that we'll continue to look at moving forward, going into the spring. But again, excited about Dominick McKinley and his addition today. And then moving forward, we've got a 7-day window here in the signing period. We could have some other movement here.
That's an interesting tease. Brian Kelly said, look, it's a 7-day signing window. We could have more movement. And one thing that has been expressed implicitly to me is that Bo Davis is coming here and plans to bring at least one, if not two, interior defensive linemen in this cycle. And make no mistake about it, they need it. And I don't just mean LSU would like to have a luxury of a couple of extra dominant interior players. Yeah, but you need warm bodies right now. Brian Kelly today, play 14, please. Brian Kelly today talked about one of their plans in the spring to get numbers on the defensive line, and they're looking at the other side of the ball.
Yeah, I think we've looked at a couple of guys that we're going to probably move. I don't want to announce them right now, but we're certainly going to move a couple of guys over to the defensive side of the ball to create a more competitive situation for us, especially, when we're talking about O-line going against the defensive line. So we want to create that. So I'd like to get these guys a little bit more time moving around, and we get into some of our OTA work later in the month, and then we'll get a chance to see them move, and then we'll be able to know for sure that they can handle the change in position. But yes, you can expect some movement there.
Brian Kelly just told you they're planning on moving some offensive linemen to the defensive side just so they can be more competitive in spring. Y'all, their three best interior defensive linemen, Jordan Jefferson, Mekhi Wingo, Mason Smith, all gone to the draft. They tried like hell to get Smith and Wingo to stay. I was told as much as a $500,000 NIL offer for those two guys to stay each. They passed, went to the league. They were ready to go pro. Okay. Well, by the way, that is significant. That would have easily been the largest NIL deals on LSU's team. You lose your top three guys. Then you also lost a ton of your depth. Ty G. Hill, Fitzgerald West, Bryce Langston, Quincy Wiggins. These weren't guys that were super impact guys, but these were guys that you know what Brian Kelly's talked about. Recruit, develop, retain, right? Recruit to the high school rank, develop, and retention. Like that's how he wants to build this. Recruit, develop, retain, and then supplement with the portal. Well, the guys you recruited and you were developing, you didn't retain. None of those guys had made an impact yet, but it cripples your numbers. You've lost 7 defensive linemen in this cycle. Now, Wiggins, you could argue, was an edge, but on the interior, Smith, Wingo, Jefferson, Hill, Langston, West. That's 6 interior defensive linemen you lost. Now, you get Jacoby and Guillory back. You've got, for a 5th season, which is a huge benefit, Jalen Lee returns as well. And you bring in Dominick McKinley. You're bringing in Sean Washington. You're bringing in Ahmad Bro. You're bringing in DeMyron Johnson in this class as well. But again, these are young players. Brian Kelly talked about it. Can you play number 10? Like, this is Brian Kelly talking about the young defensive linemen they're bringing in.
Well, I love our young players. I mean, Gabe Relaford, obviously. We talked about McKinley, certainly Demarius. I mean, we've got young, talented players. Ahmad Bro, we're going to be in a really good situation. We've got edge players. And so that, to me, is an area that we're going to have to get more depth in the inside, the interior, in the shade, and the 3 technique. We're still recruiting, and we'll continue to do that.
They're not done. You can't be done. I don't mean to preach, and I feel in some ways this is like preaching to the choir. You'll understand this, but I'm emphasizing the importance. There are wants, there are needs, and there are musts, right? LSU adding a receiver, maybe LSU adding a cornerback is kind of a want. Maybe LSU adding a linebacker is a need. LSU adding defensive tackle, whatever is higher than must, like absolute must, unequivocal, like binary, like that's where defensive tackle is. You don't have enough bodies. They're moving offensive linemen to defensive line. Brian Kelly's own words. So it can be more competitive in spring. Is the head coach's words. So they're not done. They're going to add interior defensive linemen. If it's now in this 7-day window or if it's in the spring portal cycle. But the day Bo Davis showed up on campus, I had conversations where it's like, no, he's bringing at least 1, maybe 2 guys via the portal for that interior defensive line. They just have to. They have to add more bodies. When do they do it? I have no idea. Is it now? Is it in the spring? I don't know. But remember, LSU did announce their spring dates on Tuesday, and the spring game is just a couple of days before the opening of the spring portal window. And Brian Kelly was asked if that was intentional.
No, I mean, the portal, we knew the portal situation. This was a matter of just how the spring break dates are. As you know, the Easter and break is a little bit different this year. So it's really just counting your calendar and trying to get some practices in before the break so you can extend the calendar longer because you don't have to count spring break. And it just fell that way with the portal opening up on the 15th.
We've seen that before, by the way, where they'll split up spring because of where spring break falls. You'll split it before and after so you get more days because even if you're not on the field, your coaches can work off-field, film room, all that stuff with the player. So maybe that's a coincidence with how the calendar fell, and it's fine. But be it now in the 7-day window or be it after the spring portal window opens, LSU is going to add interior defensive linemen. They just have to. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.